Hi, so here I am with Dr. Ted Mooney of EvolvOptic, one of our interviews for the show here at Photonics West. So, Ted, would you just like to take us through EvolvOptic and what your sort of plans are at the moment and here at the show?
Sure. So EvolvOptic, we're the world's leading supplier of optical blanks. And so that means we start from raw glass material and bring that to near net shape and sell that to the entire optics industry. In Rochester, we're leveraging an 80-year history of it. They were previous companies, but we rebranded as EvolvOptic last year to actually position us for a lot of the investments that we're making now into that blanking capability and even more.
So, in terms of sort of the optical design and manufacturing trade-off, what have you seen in this field, and where do you think that balance is?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we make a blank, very often we're selling those blanks to people that are doing a build to print.
Yep.
And we'll keep doing that. But in the capabilities that we're adding the ability to do finishing of very large optics. And once you're into these very large complex optics, that's no longer build to print. And so what we want to do is we're actually bringing in the capability where we can work as a partner with our customer to do full-blown system error budgeting for that optical component.
Yep.
So that we can control that, spec it for manufacturability, testability. Again, the goal is to drive affordability and rapid schedules for these optics.
And is that something that you're seeing more and more from the consumer, that actually people are not more interested, but high spec items are great, but actually I need it now because I'm doing this bit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, the good news is for the optics industry that it seems like all the optics markets are growing.
Yeah.
And so for our general blanks that we provide to the industry, we're seeing that increase. But for us specifically on the large optics, we're seeing a very big growth in the demand for that, with very limited number of people that can provide that to the industry. And so we feel that's a great gap for us to step into, not only to just be another provider of large optics, but actually to provide rapid, affordable solutions to those optics.
Yeah.
And so we've recently started partnering with some of those end users to have R&D projects to enable that.
Perfect. So, and taking that sort of the next stage further, obviously here at Photonics West, there's lots of innovation, lots of people are bringing new products, and that one of the things that we're noticing as well, though, is we want to take things out of the demo phase and into deployability. So what have you got at EvolvOptic, and here at Photonics West, what are you seeing, I guess, more broadly around the optics and the photonics world over the next 12, 24 months that, is going to shift that from here, I've got a nice new shiny thing in my lab, to actually it's ready to deploy and we're ready to go?
The trick to successful R&D integration is to not drift too far away from the end use.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure we have in mind rapid insertion into the industry when we're defining our development process. And so the trick is don't start too far away from it to begin with, so that when it's time to integrate, you have those process engineers, metrology engineers, and the end user system team already aligned with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind through the whole process.
No, that's perfect. So you already touched on that sort of build to print customization versus standardization. Again, it's one of those things, we see a lot of booths, and so it's not in the sort of optic space, but I've got a 10 gig camera, so have they. At what point does a blank become standard? Yeah. And actually, it's you guys, there's a few others, and actually at what point do you step into we can customize, we can make it thinner, make it wider, however you need to do it for your consumer base?
Yeah, it's typically market driven. There's a lot of markets that are very high volume, and it is pretty easy to get into a high volume standard production mode with them. When you get into the more complex systems, which traditionally were very low volume, the weird thing you're seeing now is even those are becoming mid volume. So you have to take these custom concepts, but make them scalable to be, mid volume production.
Yeah.
So again, working closely with the customer to make sure we have mid volume production in mind when we're designing our system.
Okay, so to take it slightly differently, given your history, actually, if I may, and your legacy, not saying you've got the 80 years of experience at Rochester, but we can go down that road. What, from your perspective, is still better to be solved, in the physics space, with a proper optic, a proper setup, proper design, as opposed to what is now starting to be solved in the software space, in the AI space. You know, a lot of people saying AI will solve all our problems.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true for everything. So you know, with your experience, where do you think that line is?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because you know, periodically, you know, some buzzword will come into the industry and everybody pivots to that, and you know, additive manufacturing, nanoparticles. There's all kinds of buzzwords that comes in, and the reality is there's value in all of those things, but keeping focused on the end use, and then as these new capabilities stand up, you can figure out how to combine all that heritage and experience with new tools that are now available to optimize that.
Yeah.
So again, I view the key to it is don't view them as completely separate. You know, very rarely does something come in and truly disrupt the industry.
Yeah.
But a new technology can exist to enable the industry to continue to optimize. And so we want to keep our eye out for that. You know,
Yeah.
don't rely on heritage, don't rely on traditional processes. Keep an eye out for the advancements so you can pull them into your process.
No, perfect. So just to sort of round it up, what is, you know, the next sort of, well, next couple of days for you here at Photonics West, and then you know, the next maybe 6 months for EvolvOptic? What have you got?
So, very exciting thing for us is that we're starting to get into R&D activities to do what we've just talked about, enable these rapid, affordable, but complex optical components. So we've started, you know, taking advantage of the Rochester, you know, optics community. There's many companies there that have their strengths, and we want to be partnering with those teams to round it out. So a great example of that is what we're trying to do in Rochester with the Stellar Laser Initiative, of bringing more laser research into the Rochester area.
Yeah.
So as part of that, the University of Rochester's Laboratory for Laser Energetics is looking for more affordable ways to make high volume of mirrors that go into the next generation system.
Yeah.
And we're working with them on an R&D project to do that. So that's the immediate next step for us, is
Yeah.
to start planting these R&D seeds so that we can solve those hard problems for them, again, in the very near future, not some new high-tech, high-risk process.
Perfect. Well, that's been really interesting for us. So and for our readers and viewers. So thank you for your time, Ted. And
Thank you.
yeah, good luck with the rest of the
appreciate
show.
Thank you.